the Craft and Calling podcast. I am so happy to have you here with us today. Y'all, every single guest on the show thus far, which I'm sure you've observed, has so potency and prowess on the business level, but then there's them because we are never demarcated. We are one whole human being. So the way we show up in our business is often the way we show up in our personal lives. And so if we ever try to separate those two, we're not going to have consistency, whether it's in our businesses or with our family. And after all, isn't our family one of the biggest reasons why we're doing what we're doing? That's the call that we have. And then with the Craft to a good place. I am so excited to have Austin Hauser here today. We are going to be diving into data and the principle of data, because once you get the principle, then it comes different modalities, practices, and platforms. And then on the other side, we're also going to be talking about what is so critical and what is so important about you as a leader to make sure that as you're teaching these principles and instilling them in your team, frankly, that it's rooted and grounded in you as the leader, leading from this place of within you, the principles to affect change so that the interior has the external and the outer layers of it. So Austin, thank you so much for joining us here today. You have quite a story, my friend, and have built a very, so thank you.
Thank you for having me here. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. Austin, you tell us a little bit about the highlights that people have to know about who you are in order for us to have the conversation, both about data and the principles therein, but then also about, the transformation that we need to go through as a leader to really be able to lead well.
Woo, yeah, that's a can of worms. All right. So I'll just give you a brief rundown of who I am, a little bit about the company that we run, and why I might be here. So my name is Austin Hauser. I run a company called Basecoat Marketing. We have a team of 36 full-time rock stars today. We are a marketing agency dedicated to one industry, and that's the professional painting industry. So if you are a residential commercial painting contractor, you're a concrete coating company, you basically put a coating on a surface, we help scale your company. What makes our team a bit unique in the world of marketing agencies that seem to be popping up everywhere is really just the fact that we focus on the data. So I don't care to report things to our clients like clicks and impressions and website visits, because you can't deposit any of that in the bank account. We very much focus on one number, and that's how much money we generated versus how much money you put into that machine. And when we look at our team, it's very much about mindset over skill set, right? I like to argue that 90% of your success in life comes from the mindset and how you lead your team. The other 10% is just really related to that skill set, which anybody can go learn on Google nowadays.
It's so true. It's hiring for the who, not necessarily the how, because we can teach that. So the data side, I love this. The one number is how much money you put in and how much money I really want to help business owners understand that, when one of our clients in the past was really focusing on clicks and really trying to understand views and reachers, but talk a little bit about how and kind of the principle that actually before we even get to the how, the principle of why and money. In one sense, it's like, well, obviously that's what makes the business. Why is it that so many times we get so fascinated on all these vanity metrics when really that's the only thing that really matters?
Vanity metrics is the exact right phrase. So a vanity metric is anything that is a leading indicator. It might show you how things might be trending, but at the end of the day, it doesn't show you how much money you've generated from your investment, which I want everybody to remember this phrase: marketing equals measurement. You can only manage what you measure. So when we look at vanity metrics, our team monitors those. We have certain KPIs around all of them. We check on that literally every single day, if not multiple times a day. But what that doesn't tell you is what happens on the other side of that. So I'm positive somebody listening into this podcast has worked with a marketing agency in the past, and they have told them, hey, we've sent you 15 leads. Our job is done. And that's not how it works, right? If you were working with a marketing partner or a marketing agency that reports leads back to you, or how many clicks they've sent you, or how many impressions your website has had, or how many form submissions you've generated, they are not the right marketing partner. Nowhere in today's day and age can you get by as a marketing agency without reporting cost of marketing and return on investment. It's critical. I mean, it's so easy to go generate content with AI now, right? You can optimize ad campaigns with AI. Our job as a marketing agency is becoming increasingly easy that just about anybody with a laptop can do it. So, what separates the good from the great marketing agencies are those that not just report vanity metrics back to their clients, which, by the way, you can make just about any vanity metric look good, right? It's just about adjusting the numbers, adjusting the time frames, and changing that around to make sure that you as a marketing agency look good. But at the end of the day, it's very, very difficult to hide a lack of revenue from the marketing that you're investing in. And that's really where we shine. We are based around performance-based marketing.
Love what you say about as a vanity metric. Y'all, even duration is a vanity metric. If they're not having money in your bank, you actually need to follow all the way to the sale. So you working with your end customers to actually can access like the full funnel of that lead coming in all the way down to the sale and the
Yeah.
bank.
So there's a lot of agencies out there that have a system in place around, let's say, a certain CRM that they'll put you in touch with. So I'll give you an example. Most marketing agencies will use a platform like HubSpot or High Level, where they have their own templated account and they say, hey, we're going to put all of our leads in here. We need you to manage that pipeline. Because it's you already have a process built around a CRM that works for you. Every industry is going to have their own go-to CRMs. Space, it's like Paint Scout. We have Drip Jobs, and use their current processes today. The downside of that is, in order for us to actually generate that return on investment calculation, the ROI, we need to then be able to tie into those CRMs. Not every CRM is open source. Not every CRM we can actually go to and say, hey, we want to pull data out, not just put data in. So what we recommend is that if you are a contractor looking for a CRM today, find one that allows you to have a two-way sync. So meaning you can drop data in, that's generally pretty easy, but then you can also pull data out. That is going to give you the visibility that's required to be able to report some of those granular metrics, like what is your cost of marketing, which, by the way, ROI and cost of marketing, just to make sure we break that down, it's the same measurement, or it's the same number. We're just measuring it two different ways. So ROI, if I were to say, hey, we generated a 200% ROI for you this month, what does that mean? I could say we generated you a 1,500% ROI. Cool. But there's no bounds to that. That number is unlimited. We can continue to go up and up and up and up. I would prefer a bounded metric, meaning, hey, we are going to keep your cost of marketing below 10%. That is a much easier number to understand. So if we're at a 5% cost of marketing, well, guess that's a 20x ROI. So cost of marketing is the number that I would prefer everybody measure. And it's just simply you divide your investment by how much revenue was generated from that investment. So we are not keeping track of numbers that, if you did a door-to-door knocking campaign, that's not on us, that's on you, right? So just be sure that your agency is generating the right numbers and they're reporting them back to you in a way that you understand.
And in the way you understand, I actually I love that it's not just a one size fits all. It really is custom to owner or whoever's the one kind of taking the lead, whether owner that the marketing agency. What do you need are, and just like spreading like that, even just started where it's like, what's the calculation formula that they could use? Do you have anything that we can drop in the chat?
Yeah, so I will send everybody a link here. It's basecoatmarketing.com/COM, stands for cost of marketing. We have a cost of marketing calculator out there. You can plug in some metrics. Now, with that said, this calculator is based on the KPIs specific to the professional painting industry. So it works very well for this industry. You might need to make some tweaks and adjustments to that formula for your industry. But we track not only just cost of marketing, we also track things further up the funnel. such as your set rate, which is estimates divided by leads, also known as book rate. There's a few different terms for that, right? Your close rate, that's actually a sales metric, but we track it on the marketing side because we need to know things like, hey, are the leads we sending you of quality? Do they meet your average job size? Are they within your target service area? Not just did you go on an estimate, did you actually close that lead? And then more so, if you're struggling with that close rate and our industry KPI benchmarks, we can put you in touch with either other clients or on our weekly mastermind calls to talk through your sales process to help you with that as well. So no longer are the days
Nice.
of hiring a marketing agency to produce leads. It is hiring a marketing partner to help you scale your company. There are so many different components that everybody can point fingers at and say, this is my responsibility, that's your responsibility. Wouldn't it be great to have a partner on your side that says, hey, we're in this together. Here's what you're responsible for. Here's what we're responsible for. But we're also going to hold each other accountable throughout that entire relationship as well.
Austin, I'd love if you're willing, I talk a little bit about what some of these can learn from your end of, kind of tracking some of that data. Maybe big space, maybe they don't have the financial wherewithal to hire an agency yet or partner. To your point, I think good decision. Really, man, if you're looking to scale, or even if you're looking for the point of selling, that's actually really, really important for the purpose of, okay, be at the position of scaling so that we're growing at a rapid pace year over years, that we're actually not taking as much in terms of like owner's draw, more money in the bank and a investment purpose of selling in the future. So whether you're scaling or selling, even succession, I mean, let's hand down good businesses to our families and passing it down. For those and kind of doing it a little bit on their own. Start with kind of the makeshift spreadsheets. I'm so glad. Marketing.com /
COM stands for cost of marketing. Yes, that'll drop you in a landing page for a calculator there. And yeah, to answer your question, so I think let's actually jump back to what you said earlier on in this conversation, which is there's context and then there's syntax. So the context of this conversation comes into how do we do things. The syntax is the how behind it. The why. I'm sorry. The context is the why. The syntax is the how. Right. So the context behind this is way more important. It's no different than if you want to program or like learn how to program, right? There's a plethora of different programming languages out there in the computer world. But if once you learn one, the syntax is relatively straightforward. It's also no different than 90% mindset, 10% skill set. So 90% of your success comes from the mindset, 10% you can learn. So getting back to the context of what we're talking about here, when we look at all of the things that you can do, it really comes down to just 20% of things that generate 80% of your results. So the 80-20 rule. As a business owner, I think we should all be very familiar with this rule. It's a law both in business and in life, right? And what's really important about this is to understand that there are a lot of things that you can do in the world of marketing and measurement, but there's really only a few things that actually move the needle. So when you're looking at the things you can do today, and just to make sure I'm providing your audience the value here, do you want to look at the front end of like, hey, what are the marketing things that you can do? Or do you strictly want to focus on the measurement side of this for now?
I think we have the time.
Let's do it. All right.
For it.
So let's start with the marketing side. So marketing is very much, think about it just like an amplification device. Like all we're doing is we're trying to amplify what you already do today. Now, if we're amplifying a bad reputation, that's going to get expensive, right? If we're amplifying a bad brand, that's going to be very expensive as well. So I like to focus on the fundamentals. Do you have a good brand in place? And branding goes way beyond just like what your business name is or how great your logo is. It is the behavioral expectations of your team. What's your culture like? Do you have core values? Do you have a mission defined? Like, why do you get out of bed each day? Ask yourself why 3 times. Like, why do you get out of bed each day? Why is this important to you? Why did you get started? Go back to the core fundamentals of your business. That's your brand. You need to have a good brand. You can't just be another Chuck in a truck, Dan in a van. You need to have a reason that you get out of bed and what makes your company different. So start with branding. right? From there, you need to focus on your reputation. I like to say we cannot buy your online reputation. Like, gone are the days of spamming reviews on your business profile on Google or Nextdoor or whatever. You need to deliver a quality product, right? People are paying you for something. And generally in the trades, you are physically going into somebody's house. That is an emotional experience for anybody, right? Like, they don't know who's going to be showing up. Are you going to show up on time? Are you going to smell like cigarette smoke? Are you going to listen to loud music in the background? Again, behavioral
Mm.
expectations, delivering a good quality product. That is the most important fundamentals of any marketing campaign. From there, then we can get into some of the syntax, some of the technicals, which is going to be having a good business profile on Google. So when we look at monopolies in our society today, Google is a monopoly. I mean, they capture over 90% of the search market. Crazy part about this is the second most popular search engine is YouTube, which is also owned by Google. It's mind blowing. So when we look at where you should invest your time today, AI could shake up all of this tomorrow, by the way. But as it stands today, and this is historically how it stood for the last, let's say, 15 to 20 years, you need to invest your time into things that rank well on Google because that's where your audience is actually searching. So in our industry, we like to rank our clients for terms like pain or near me. Well, 1/3 of Google search traffic goes to an unpaid lead channel. That's your business profile on Google. It is a free profile and what we consider an exponential lead source. So if you own a contracting business or you're in the trades, you need to have your business on Google and you need to be pushing your clients or your customers to leave you reviews on that profile. We have a review capture script that I recommend everybody implement in their business today. If you go to basecoatmarketing.com/reputation, it'll drop you right onto that script. We're actually creating some more training videos around this as well. But the essence of your reputation is simply explaining why the review is important, why your reputation is important to you, asking your customer for the review, and then verifying they actually left you that review. The third one's the most important point. I think a lot of people fail to do that. So we are in this age of automations. I think a lot of people just leverage automations. Like, oh, I'm going to send you a text after this to leave you a review. And what happens is people get busy. I'm positive we have probably experienced this ourselves. Is we've hired somebody to do a job. We want to leave them a review. Like, as a business owner, I know how important our reputation is. So like, I want to leave them a review, and then I just forget. I get busy. I get sidetracked. And then it'll be a month later. I'll wake up at like 2 a.m. and like dead sleep. And I'll be like, oh, I forgot to leave that guy a review. And I'll make a mental note of that, but it's hard. Like I got two kids, shit gets stressful. So, my recommendation is to follow that script. It's proven to have a 90% capture rate. We have clients that out of every 10 jobs they complete, they capture about 9 reviews. The important thing to understand here for everybody listening in is your reputation is measured by Google in a few different ways. The first way is proximity. So how close physically is that person to you who left the review? If you're a local area business, they better be within about a 60-mile radius, or else Google's going to start to flag those reviews. Google's algorithm is notorious for flagging legitimate reviews, which is why verifying the review at the end is important. I'll circle back to that. The second way they measure it is the total number of reviews. So for instance, if you got 200 reviews and your competition has 500, well, they're probably going to outrank you if they have more reviews. What Google has recently introduced is last year, they are now not just focusing on the total number of reviews, but the frequency at which you capture those reviews. So this is a never-ending treadmill. So even if you have 200 reviews on your business profile and your next closest competitor maybe only has 50, guess what? We've had clients with 50 reviews outranking those with 200 simply because they've acquired those 50 reviews in the more recent past than their competition has. So it's really, really important, right? The importance of these reviews is, again, it's invaluable. If you have a review that somebody leaves on your profile and it doesn't show up, verifying for the review at the very end of that job by taking a screenshot or taking a picture of the review that, hey, they have left it, here's what it said, allows you to go dispute that review with Google. So there's actually a review dispute process out there. I believe it's actually we have an SOP for that on that basecoatmarketing.com/reputation link if you guys want to go check that out. And it's just really important that you guys fight for every single review out there. So before you walk away from the job, you should be walking away with a review. It's really, really important. I touched on a whole lot there. Any questions so far?
Yeah. Well, I've got both of these pulled up in front of me. Wonderful resources. So for the most important number that every single business owner needs to be, basecoat.com/COM. A little bit for your business if you're not in painting, but resource cost of marketing calculator. And then the second is basecoatmarketing.com. And there's a lot of really, really good stuff on here. I have about the verifying. So I love knowing that. And you're saying, just to repeat back to make sure I understand, when the project manager, because usually they'd be the one to ask for it, or boots on the ground with the client is leaving the review in person, because I think that that's something to emphasize. Do it in real time, as much to your point. If you leave, they're not going to do it probably. So you're physically with that person, and then when they do, and take a screenshot of it. And then for like, how long should people expect to have to wait to see if that shows up on the Google Business Profile?
Generally, I would say after the first 48 hours, if it's not there, you should go dispute that review with Google. Again, there's nobody manually reviewing these reviews that are left on your profile. It's an algorithm, and it's not great at its job. It'll flag it for a number of reasons, and usually they're wrong. So having that evidence that you can actually upload a screenshot of the review along with the person's first and last name and say, hey, they left this review on this date and time. Here's evidence of that. You can go dispute that with them. And we actually do have a link to that review dispute form directly on that same page. So you can click on that link, submit the required documentation. I would say it works 100% of the time, about 50% of the time. So it's not a foolproof solution, right? But it's still worth going through the process of submitting that, because if you can get that one review back, it's worth every bit of time and money that it took to get that review.
And I've seen other businesses do it in different ways. For your clients particularly, did they kind of bonus structure set up, management lead, or talk to us about that? Because I think that that's really important.
Okay. So there's an incentive on two sides here. The first, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, hey, you cannot pay for a review. You cannot incentivize your customers to leave you a review. That's true, but you can pay them for their time. So there's an FCC rule out there that you cannot incentivize a review. That is very true. Now, if you go to your local restaurant, you're probably going to see a little pamphlet sitting on your table that says, leave us a review and you'll receive a $5 gift card for your next meal or whatever. That is literally going against the FCC rules. But with all of that said, it's also something that, how much are they actually going to enforce that, right? There's a lot of this going on out there. But what we prefer to do is avoid any of the red tape and just simply say, hey, we're not going to pay you for your review. We're just going to simply incentivize you for your time. So the way that we script that out is simply by saying, hey, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes of your time to leave us a review, I would be happy to discount your invoice, your contract by $20 for taking the time out of your day. We are not asking for a 5-star review. We're not asking for a positive review. We're just asking them to take their time to leave feedback for our team. But again, explaining why the review is important is really helpful. So that way they understand the importance of it. Hey, this is what helps feed our families. It's what helps puts our food on our table. They can tie into the emotional aspect of why that's important, why they should take 5 minutes out of their day. And then the verification is really, really important, is actually getting that from them. Now, on the other side of that, for your project manager, and again, just to back up a little bit, I recommend doing this during your final project walkthrough. Your customers are generally going to be happiest during that time. Always ask before you even ask for the review, hey, do you feel like this is a 5-star product? Do you feel like we produced your expected outcome, right? Make sure that they're happy with everything, and then ask them for that review. On the other side of that, definitely make it a KPI for your team. So again, aim for about a 90% capture rate. Out of every 9 out of 10 jobs you complete, you should walk away with a review. We've even had clients of ours who work with a lot of the elderly population. They don't have a Google profile or a Google account. So they actually have a process in place to go create that for them while they're out on the project. They say, hey, I will create one for you. Do you have an email address? All you need to do is click on a link to verify it, and then we can send you the link to go leave us a review online, right? So Go out
Nice.
of your way, be creative, and then yeah, incentivize your team to do that. Not only just tracking it as a KPI, give them $20, $50. You can even use that as a way to incentivize the review. Say, hey, Sally Lou, I know we just wrapped up this project today. If you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes out of your day to leave us a review online, you will actually allow me to take my wife out to dinner tonight because I'm incentivized for this review, and I can knock off $20 off your invoice as well. Does that sound good to you? I'd be happy to send you a link right now.
Do you encourage clients that below a certain threshold, let's say the invoice is below $500, of monetary bonus versus if it's a
No, I look at it every review. I mean, we've even had clients offer free services in exchange for a review, right? And again, for taking the time out of your day to leave the review. So they'll say, "Hey, look, if I
yes.
know you really wanted this vanity to be painted and we're outside of your budget, how about if we knock this out of the park for you? At the end of the project, I'll ask you for a review. I will include this for free if you are confident that if we do a good job for you, that you can leave us a review at the end. Does that sound fair to you?" They're going to say, yep. And then at the
Mm.
end, you just remind them of what they said up front. As long as this is a 5-star service, a 5-star product, then hey, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes out of your day, I can send you a link right now.
It's just really, this is why, knowing why this is so important, and then the implementation. There's so many different ways, so many ways to be creative. I love what you said about, if you're willing to do this, I can take my wife out to dinner tonight. Everyone's going to be like, well, yeah, let's make wifey happy. Everyone's going to be emotionally bought into that. And obviously, no one, $20 taken off their invoice. So really, this is just every single business needs to be. I wrote this down as you were talking. It is the of those around, and then it's also the total number of reviews, and then I think the frequency is because a lot of girls, after they have a,
Yep.
especially in relation to the competitors, they've got the 230, but 10, 20 in a week, and they just bumped up. So this is so important to be really on that aspect of getting reviews and incorporating that into the bonus structure for the managers, whoever's that last touch point with. So good. Let's talk a little bit more. So beyond, I want to make sure that we have in mind. I love those points and a good reputation with a quality product. That is your responsibility. That no AI can fix that. It is your business owner. But then with a Google Business, 1/3 of our traffic, and then the script.
Yeah.
So thank you so.
So there's a few other things here that I want everybody to just immediately run to if you've not done these things already. The second thing is you need a domain name. I don't even care if you have a website. If you got a website to add on to that, great. But the one thing you don't want to do is go pay some agency to build you a $10,000 website, right? We don't even charge for the websites we create. We have a set monthly rate that we invest in back into our clients. And that website is free of charge. If our clients want to walk away with that after the first 30 days, they can. Because a website's not good for very much unless you add to it. You need to create content. You are a content creator at that point. It's no different than if you were to invest in the best looking business card, but you have no way to distribute that business card. Or you invest in a great billboard, but it's next to a backcountry road, right? You need to position that in front of a highway. You need a distribution platform, and the only way to rank a website is to continually add content to it. It's no different than your business profile on Google. If you got a profile, nobody's going to see it unless you get reviews on it, right? So a domain name is the most important thing, because Google, if you were, let's say you're a new startup, and this is one of the reasons we typically don't work with startups, is because there's just a lot of foundation building that needs to happen. But let's say that you're a new startup. You go out there and purchase a domain name this month, and then you want to go hire a marketing agency. Well, guess what? If you come to us with a brand new domain, it's been purchased in the last 30 days, you could pay us $1 million tomorrow, and there is nothing we can do to get that on page 1 of Google overnight. You just can't do it. Google puts you into what's called a sandbox, and generally it lasts about 3 to 6 months, depending on your market. And they look at the age of that domain. They say, okay, this is a new domain. We are going to prevent spam by allowing this person to prove themselves to us first. If they are not just spamming a bunch of content out there using AI chatbots and all that, then we can actually rank them higher in Google. So generally what we like to say is you're going to build up some momentum behind a floodgate. And then over the course of those first 3 to 6 months, Google will eventually let some of that trickle out. And then eventually it'll open up those floodgates, and all of the momentum that you built up behind that can finally hit the market. But you're looking at 3 to 6 months of investment before you start seeing any returns. Versus if you have something established today by just simply purchasing a domain name and starting that clock, that will allow us to hit the ground running much faster. So again, just go purchase a domain name if you don't already have one today. And the third and final thing here, and this is arguably one of the most important things, is you need to get comfortable getting in front of the camera. So as an entrepreneur, the day that you decided to be an entrepreneur is the day that you gave up the right to be scared to get in front of the camera. We live in a social media era where you need to be able to have a conversation with your prospects before they even give you a call, right? So it's very simple. There's a level of authenticity that we need to convey for you as a business owner. Your audience typically doesn't just care about the service that you're offering as a business owner. They care about who you are as a person. Do I trust this guy? Do I expect his team to show up on time? If they don't, can I hold them accountable? Right? So you getting on camera there's a few different things that we look for from our clients, and we get very specific here. Images is easy, right? You can go take before and after images. In our space anyways, that's a luxury that we have. If you're like a plumber or an electrician, you don't really have the ability to take before and afters, but you can still take pictures of your projects or happy customers or the outcome, right?
Right.
Team photos perform better than any project style photo. What performs even better than team photos is personal family photos. So photos of you and your friends at a football game, or you and your team at a favorite local restaurant with the sign in the background. It emphasizes the fact that you are a local staple of the community. If you got a landmark, go take a picture in front of that. If you have any Christmas photos, we love to run pictures of family members standing in front of a Christmas tree in July because it's a pattern interrupt. People love animals, pictures with dogs. If you don't have a dog, go take a picture with a neighbor's dog, right? Images are helpful, but they need to be authentic. They need to be unpredicted. I've even had a client of ours take a picture of a Polaroid of him and his father standing in front of a Christmas tree. His father had passed away, but he had passed down the business to him. And we wrote an entire story about how his father is no longer with him, but he wants to drive the same values that he established in him as his son. And that ad crushed it because we ran that in July, and it was a picture of a Polaroid, and that was it. But again, it has nothing to do with painting, and that's really what we're after there. On the video side of this is where I think a lot of guys just like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to say on camera. You just need to put in the reps. I like to say if you're recording a video today and you look back on it from a year from now and don't cringe, you probably waited too long. So go get started. Use every opportunity that you have to create content. Build it into your SOPs. If you're doing an estimate, get out the camera, hold your phone at arm's length, look into the camera, not the screen, and start talking to that camera as for talking to a prospect about their problem. If you're doing a final project walkthrough, get testimonial videos. If you're in a team meeting, record the team meeting, talk about what you're going to be doing for the next quarter. If you're in a car on your way to an estimate, get a phone mount. You can get them mounted in your car and talk into the camera as if you're talking to a prospect. You don't even have to look into the camera. If you're driving, just have a conversation about something that you just came from on an estimate or something you're going out to an estimate for. That content is invaluable, and we cannot buy that. So really important, guys. Even if you don't have a marketing agency, go build up a library of content. That allows an agency to then just hit the ground running for whenever you do start investing in them.
Austin, this has been such an incredibly powerful episode. So with just honestly tactical, practical for people to go out and implement, especially on the content creator side. I said it best. For running a business, you're right to we need to be at the forefront, especially in terms of our leadership position. Austin, I know we're here. Would you be willing to do a part 2 with me and talk about what we were talking about in the green room? It was so important what you were saying. And I think, frankly, it deserves its own episode, because who we are and the way we lead transforms not only ultimately our clients and also our
Absolutely.
families. So would you be willing to
Yeah,
come
let's
back
do it.
on?
Let's get it on the calendar.
Love it. Austin, thank you so much. Marketing, any for our folks before
No,
we
and guys,
jump?
listen, I am very open to sharing as much as I possibly can. I look at adding value before expecting anything in return. So if you're a contractor and you're struggling, do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. It's just austin@basecoatmarketing.com. Even if we don't serve your industry, I'd be happy to maybe point you in the direction of an agency that could help you. If you are in the professional painting space and you want to see if we might be a good fit, simply go to basecoatmarketing.com/call. And it's going to talk you through a few questions. We just need to make sure that we can help you. And if we can't, we're going to send you the resources to get you to a point where we might be able to in the future.
Wonderful. Austin, so grateful for you, my friend. Thank you. Y'all go to basecoatmarketing.com / cost of marketing calculator, and then also marketing.com / reputation for 8 different elements for you as you're building reputation. But at the end of the day, strong brand, and you need to have a quality product. And then all of this added to it is just going to plus and succeed options. Thank you so